A lot of important habits happen when you are very, very young, and especially when you're a teenager developing these habits. It's very important to develop the right habits in order to have a very successful life. Now, if you want to have a very successful life, there are a lot of key features in points that you need to learn early on and stay consistent and implement as well inside of your day-to-day routine in order to basically come out on the other side positive. So in today's video, I'll be giving you 6 tips in order to build wealth as a teenager, and these aren't in any order, so feel free, if you have any questions, leave them down below inside the description. And I also wanted to say that I'm also basically a teenager. I'm currently 18, if you guys didn't know that. So these tips I can really relate back to, and overall these tips are going to be very crucial in order to stand yourself apart and not follow the crowd of all the other people that want to, just it doesn't even have to be just getting a 9-to-5 job. Going down the traditional college route. On this channel, I really don't like to talk about going to college, and I really like to steer new entrepreneurs to follow their passions and do what they love and eventually make a living off of it. So in today's video, it's going to be 6 tips to build wealth as a teenager. Let's jump right in. Okay, so first on the list we have taking risks at a young age. Now, personally, I love taking risks, and I wouldn't have been here if I didn't take all the risks prior to where I got to here today. So while taking risks can be a good and a bad thing, when you're young, you don't really have a lot of things to lose. Now, this doesn't have to be just related to business. It can be anything related to learning a new skill, maybe taking some sort of online class, and just branching out and taking something else that you normally wouldn't do, especially in your class or people around you. It's good to stay different. You don't always have to follow the crowd. If you follow the crowd, you get what the crowd gets, and the crowd usually just gets a normal 9-to-5 job. I know I don't really like to talk about 9-to-5 jobs because other people's opinions of 9-to-5 may be different from me. So overall, you need to take risks at a very young age. Taking risks is going to be a lot easier if you fail, especially at a younger age, so you can get back up and retry again and hop onto another opportunity. So it's very important to take a risk, especially when you're a lot younger. Number 2 on the list, we have finding a mentor and somebody that can really teach you. So personally, I met a friend of mine way back when I was very young, probably like 10 years old or younger, and eventually we got to know each other. And how I met him is essentially my parents had a restaurant, and they would come in and eat, and we got to know each other. And long story short, he got me into investing. So I got started investing at a very young age, at 12 years old. I learned all about businesses and how they work, read a lot of books about how you can stay out of debt, a lot of books about Dave Ramsey. So at a very young age, I basically found not just a mentor, but like a friend or a teacher that could guide me through all the failures and things that they did wrong that I can go ahead and learn and not do. It's very important to find someone that is actually in person and not online, because online there's just a different type of learning experience, especially for a mentor when you learn online. So if you can, in person is the best way to get mentored and learn different ways and improve self-consciously and overall yourself. Number 3 on the list, diversifying your friend group. Now, depending on if you do want to become an entrepreneur, you will soon, very, very soon realize that you will start losing friends very, very fast. Now, this isn't to be said that all entrepreneurs are lonely, because plenty of entrepreneurs that have a lot of friends, and they all have a great time and they have a ton of connections. But in the beginning, when you're starting out, you probably don't have that many friends or that many connections. So it's very, very important to set the people that don't fit your vision. So your vision, let's say you want to start a company, start a business in the future. Now you have your friends at school. Those are one set of friends. Those are your friends that you just talk to, hang out with, when you just don't want to talk about business or self-improvement. And then you want to have another group of friends that all about the hustle, all about self-improvement, starting businesses, and becoming financially free. You want to set these two friend zones apart. You don't want them to clash. You don't want them to meet, especially since they don't fit the same vision. It's not going to end well. So make sure you diversify your friend group as soon as possible. And in the world of entrepreneurship, connections are the most important thing. I found this out very, very quickly, as having connections really saved my butt a ton of times in clutch situations where I was having issues with my business. One connection led to another connection, which helped me in the end to get an answer about something inside my business. So having connections, always network and learn and connect with new people, because you don't know, they might come in clutch one day to save you, and you might be able to help them out as well. So it's a win-win situation. Having connections are super, super important, especially inside of the entrepreneurial world. Number 4, we have developing a certain type of education. Now, what I mean by this is, you probably, if you're a teenager, you're probably in high school, middle school, or maybe you're already in college, but you're probably following some sort of public education, or even if you're in private school, you're following what the government wants to teach you. Now, it's fine if you want to follow what the government teach you. You'll just end up with something that the government wants you to do, and that's working a normal job. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this, but on this channel, I'm steering you the opposite direction, starting your own business, working for yourself. So if you're on this video and you are more towards a college route, then I highly suggest you, probably if you don't agree with me, to just leave, because there's no point of us arguing, because we don't fit the same vision. So developing education. Online education has gotten a lot different, especially in 2020. So a good place to start that I highly suggest for beginners is Udemy. Udemy has a lot of cheap courses. They have a lot of sales ever so often to pick up courses for $13. And I picked up recently a course for local lead generation that I'm getting into for a new business model that I want to do on the side. So Udemy does have a lot of courses to get you started. However, most of them are, I don't want to say they're not that advanced, since the courses are more publicly known, because Udemy is a larger brand compared to, someone else like a private label brand like Trevor Zheng, which is a Shopify dropshipping guru. Like his course is like $2,000, but some may argue there might be some sort of similarity and differences. But what I want to say is, you need to start developing your own type of education. You can't just be following what the public education gives you. And if you do, that's fine, but just know that you're going to end up in the same route that everyone else goes. You need to stir away from the sheep. Essentially, there's a ton of sheep in a classroom, and all the sheep are learning from another grandmaster, and if you follow what the grandmaster does, you're going to end up like him, teaching more people. But if you want to stir away from the crowd, then you're going to get different results in the crowd. It doesn't always mean it's success, but it's just going to be different. And for some people, very serious entrepreneurs, they do not want to work for other people, or just go down the plain college route. Number 5 on the list, we're going to have invest in a retire account and invest. Now, this should always be a factor that you keep in the back of your mind at all times. Investing is super important, and if you make a ton of money but never invest and something happens with your money, then you are wrecked. And it's always very important to set aside money, not in just savings, but learn about the stock market, investing in broad ETFs for normal people. ETFs are a great way to get started. Index funds are a great way since they're a collection of larger companies. So for investing, I suggest index funds for most people, and also setting aside more money for retirement if you're a bit older. Set aside for a Roth IRA and take advantage of the tax-free money when you turn 59 and a half. Number 6 on the list, we're gonna have focus first about the money before investing. Now this goes hand in hand with what I just said in number 5. You need to start investing money on the side, since businesses can go down south and you can't always rely on one stream of income. It's important to diversify, but also to invest. But first, before you even start thinking about investing, you need to start making money, because if you have no money to invest, there's no point of thinking about investing. So first of all, focus on making money first, and then second, focus on investing after you have some sort of consistent stream of income. Now, entrepreneur businesses are never consistent, but get them as consistent. Make the lowest sale day lower and make the highest day sales days higher, so you balance the medium, so you have a more higher medium. So if you have more bad days than good days, your lower medium doesn't dramatically drop. So it's important that first you need to find ways to make money, either online or physical work, to get you started, and then you can start investing. There's no point of starting investing if you don't have any money up front. Now this is pretty much common sense to me, but to other people it may not be. Especially I've seen a lot of people's especially younger people looking at investing, but also they only make like $100 a month. And sure, investing might be the best way for them, but use that money, use that capital to make more money, and then invest in the future, because that's going to be the better route. So you don't tie up more of your money in the stock market compared to having capital to fund more businesses. And the last bonus tip that I want to throw in there is that especially if you're an older teenager, maybe you just got your first car or about to get your first car, is to get an old and reliable car. Now, personally, my parents had got me a car and I'm very grateful for it. But if I were to buy it myself, I would have picked an older 5+ year-old car that is reliable. Now, I don't really know too much about cars, but I do know that Hondas, Toyotas, Nissans, just Japanese cars in general are really reliable. So you get one of those brands in a reliable car, then you should be good. So you don't have to rely too much on repairs and something going wrong, high gas fees and all of that kind of stuff. So as a bonus tip, look for something used, reliable. The most important thing is reliable, because you don't want that car breaking down. Even if it's new, it's going to cost you more money. So find an older car at a good price and get it at that price, and make sure it's reliable. It's going to be very important. It's going to be your ideal transportation to either to your job, to your work, or for connections, or if you want to invest in real estate down in the future. Having a good, reliable transportation source is very, very crucial. Now that pretty much wraps up all these 6 tips for building wealth as a teenager. If you found any value, make sure you smash that like button. Hope you guys enjoyed it and took some value away. Make sure you implement these. Don't just watch this video, save it for later. Write this down, put it on a whiteboard, and actually implement all these tips, because if you don't implement these, you're basically just wasting time watching this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.